Hello everybody and welcome to another video and welcome to a very, very chilly day in February. Today is my birthday. Now over the last several years for my birthday I've normally put out a poll asking, what should I do for my birthday videos. I wanted to do something special, and for the last I think 2 or 3 years I've done something special for my birthday, whether it be choosing my favourite music videos of all time or the bands that got me into heavy metal, that sort of thing. This year I failed to do so. I've been so preoccupied with other things that have in real life that have taken up my time, such as taking care of my disabled mother who had a fall recently. She's still struggling, so a lot more of my time is being taken up than usual. So I've sort of not necessarily neglected, but I've not given as much attention to this as I should. So I failed to put up a poll as to what I was going to do for my birthday videos. So what I decided I'll do is, a little while ago when I was looking at Hey Ren and the Ballad of John and I can't remember, Screech and I can't remember, Jenny, Screech and Jenny. Yeah. When I was looking at those, someone suggested that I look at the Money Game trilogy of songs by Ren. So what I thought I would do, in place of what I have done for the last couple of years, where I've released like 14 videos over the course of a week for my birthday over the last few years. So what I thought I'd do in place of that is I would do 3 individual videos looking at each individual part of Money Game by Ren, because I was told specifically to look at them individually, not do them all muddled together, because it might be harder to sort of discuss what the song itself might be about. So that's what I'm going to do for my birthday videos. It's going to be a lot different than usual. I'm just going to do 3 videos discussing the 3 Money Game songs by Ren. And obviously by this time, like I say, I've heard 2 tracks by Ren with Hi Ren and the Ballad of Screech and Jenny, or Jenny and Screech, whichever way around it went. Either way, they were both really good. They both really intrigued me, and the performances and the way he crafted those pieces of music were amazing to me. I was very, very impressed by the work that he put into it. So I'm really looking forward to these, because the Money Game trilogy has come highly requested by so many people. Almost every video, I say almost every video, I put out 2 videos by Ren, but like comments on both videos all said look at Money Game. In the live chat when I've done the premieres of Ren videos, people have said look at the Money Game trilogy. This has come highly suggested by so many people, so I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do that for my birthday videos. So that's what we're going to do. So obviously today we're going to be looking at Money Game Part 1. I kind of know what I'm expecting from Ren, but I'm also not. Because, I've been told he can really, really surprise you. He can come out of left field with a completely different style. And, he's very unpredictable in the way that certain songs might not be what you expect them to sound like. But either way. So I kind of know what I'm expecting, but there might be a surprise, I don't know. So we're just going to jump into this track and see what we've got. So we're going to be looking at Money Game Part 1 by Ren. Let's have a look.
It's a strange time we're living in. War can put fear in. Hierarchy parties, they make us feel inferior. Greed runs through parliament interiors. Devils walk among us, they fit the criteria. Eerie theories, strive fearing weary-minded men, when we're clearly living in dictatorships, nearly blinded by illusions to choose who's fooling who. A ball chained to your shoes on pain. It's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game that lets this whole war burn. As the world turns, the whole world burns. But money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, turns a saint into a sinner, a child into a killer. His finger on the trigger of a money game. Oh, rain, 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 a storm it comes our way, and those who rise through distorted lies, poison in the veins. veins, but we like to point the blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game. Stop. Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas to keep us separate, when they make us believe that everybody is coming to terrorize you in the streets. They say badly through gritted teeth, that's my right to hate, that's freedom of speech. But when did freedom become a reason to hate? A way to justify a racist slur or insult we make? There's an irony in freedom, cause us in the West, we have pillaged and plundered the murder like savages, colonized all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Preach a certain value that you never keep yourselves. Your country was in flames, you denigrate yourselves in a second. Still you spit your venom, demonizing immigrants when really you're the immigrant, cause all of us are immigrants or descended from immigrants. Irony is imminent, I'll shed the light on immigrants. America was colonized by Britain. Britain, it was colonized by Rome, and also colonized by the Saxons. They were German, by the way. You know how people throw shade upon the Germans because of history's pain, and yet we made the same mistakes all again. Demonize a whole people, Jewish or Muslim, the same and the same. Old situations play on repeat, the same old TV shows repeat. Yeah, we worship the bleak, our opinions aren't our own, and we follow like sheep. There's no left, there's no right, in the middle we sleep. Rain, 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 a storm it comes our way. And those who rise through distorted lies, poison in the veins. But we like to point the blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game.
Okay. Well, there you go. Money Game by Ren. And again, this guy is just brilliant. The way he crafts these pieces of music, it's just amazing, because when I looked at High Ren, I said, that was a very minimal piece of music. It had him, a guitar, and I think there might have been some drum or possibly piano floating around in the background. This goes even further. This is just him and a guitar, and at some points, not even the guitar. This is so minimalistic, it's impressive. There are moments when he's, rapping, and he's speaking so fast. How the hell he doesn't trip over his own tongue, I don't know. Because when I was a singer for a metal band, I actually wrote a song called Noxious, and it had a sort of bridge version in it somewhere. But when I wrote it as a very, very fast sung part, and I stupidly wrote it so fast I could hardly sing it. I could, but there were many times that I actually struggled and tripped over it. But that wasn't nearly as fast as what he did in this video. Very impressive. And again, using the video, this was mentioned the first time I looked at Ren. I was sitting here watching the video and reading the lyrics at the same time, and I got told off quite a bit for it because I missed some important parts of the video. So, again, as I did when I looked at the Ballad of Screeching Jenny, or Jenny and Screech, I can never remember which way around it went. Either way, when I looked at the second video, I made sure to pay full attention to the video. I still have the lyrics here off the side, but I didn't look at them. But I didn't really need to, because I caught the general gist of what the song was about just by listening to it. But I like the way the video's been done, because so far in the videos that I've seen, it's just been him. I think at one point in the High Ren video, someone walks in wearing a pig mask, like quite towards the end, and sort of wheels him off in a wheelchair. But in this video, he actually has a screen partner, as it were, sitting in the chair with the sack over their head, a rope round their neck, completely anonymous, and, playing the guitar instead of him doing it, because he had other things to do throughout the video. And that imagery is quite striking, because that to me looks like, and given what the rest of the song, given what the song is about, it's almost like someone being held hostage and tortured, having the sack over their head so they can't see where they are. It kind of looks like he's bound to the chair, but I don't think he is. So it gives that sort of prisoner, hostage, torture victim kind of vibe. At one point he takes the guitar off him, jumps on him and then draws the eyes on the hood weirdly for some reason, and then he pours like petrol or gasoline if you're in America, over the, or he appears to. You never actually see him do it, but he appears to. And then of course at the end he sits down, pours it all over himself and threatens to light himself on fire. And of course then there's a bit with the baseball bat, that sort of threatening aura where he's sort of hefting that and, dragging it across the fence, which really rung in my ears. I think my headphones were a little bit too loud at that bit. But, so there's this whole aura of threat and bullying throughout the video. That the sort of thing of people in power against the weak and helpless, the weak and helpless being the guy in the chair and Ren sort of display, being the people in power, the people who have all the control. And that's quite a lot of what the song is about. He's talking about things like corruption in the government and things like that. And, people with money and power, making the rules, doing whatever the fuck they want. But if we tried that, if we normal people tried that, boy, would there be hell to pay. It's that sort of thing. So it goes, it's a strange time we're living in. World can put a fear in you. Hierarchy parties that make us feel inferior. Greed runs through the parliament interior. Devils walk among us, they fit the criteria. Eerie stories strike fear in weary-minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships. Nearly blinded by Nearly blinded by illusions to choose, but who's fooling who? A ball chained to your toe, shoes. I can't read today. I'm pained. It's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game that lets the world burn. As the world turns, the whole world burns. But money was invented for trade, but now those bits of paper twist hearts and make slaves. Turns a saint into a sinner, a child into a killer, his finger on the trigger of a money game. So just that opening verse, it says a whole lot. It's a strange time we're living in. The world can put fear in you. Greed runs through the Parliament interior. Oh my God, how much can I say? I could go off on an eternal rant about this. Because politicians are all asshats. They're always arguing between each other, saying, I don't agree with what you're doing, I don't agree with what you're doing, but no matter who gets in power, they always do the same shit, and that is whatever they can for themselves. Greed runs through the Parliament interior. Like, in the UK, we had Boris Johnson, the British version of Donald Trump, an absolute arse clown. And all he was interested in doing was making himself richer, making his 1% friends richer, fuck everybody else. Having parties in number 10 Downing Street, whilst everybody else was being forced to isolate themselves during the coronavirus outbreak. He made all these rules for everybody else and didn't follow them himself. Because he's a politician, he doesn't have to. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, and all he wants to do is make it as easy as it is possible for him and his friends, whilst making it as hard as it possible for people like me. The rich people don't pay tax, but we do. If we don't pay tax, boy do we get in trouble for it. They have 2, 3, 4 homes and they claim expenses for those. And who's the one paying for their homes? This guy. And, the same goes with pretty much any other parliament or government in the world. There is so much corruption and greed running throughout them. It is unfucking believable. And that's exactly what he's saying. Devils walk among us, they fit the criteria. Eerie theories strike fear in weary-minded men when we're clearly living in dictatorships. Which we are, essentially, especially a certain country right about now, has been since about January, and all he's done so far is change the name of a piece of water. Again, it's a crying shame. The pursuit of our own wealth lights a flame that makes greed a game and lets the whole world burn. As the world turns, the whole world burns. Now, this could be it's a general sort of criticism of capitalism generally, as the world turns, the world burns, because people are, a lot of these people, especially like the 1%ers, the rich and powerful, are so intent on bleeding us dry. They want to make themselves richer, no matter who they hurt in the process. And there was... a little while ago, there was Brazilian farmers who were responsible for burning a large chunk of the Amazon forest, just to make money. They don't care how much they're destroying the planet, so long as they get rich. They could be pumping poisonous gases into the air. They could be destroying our atmosphere. They don't care so long as they get rich. He says, money was invented for trade, a sort of tit for tat, sort of like, I've got this, I can give you this in exchange for it. It was, that's how it was intended. It wasn't intended to be hoarded, And it says, now these bits of paper twist hearts, make slaves, There's that greed, the want, the need for more of it. There's these people who think money is the only important thing in the world. It turns a saint to a sinner. The need and greed for money can make people do ridiculous things. If you have no money, if you're really, really struggling for money, you might turn to theft. You might turn to shoplifting, just for the sake of getting the stuff that you need, because you don't have any, or you could be a really nice, sweet, innocent person, and then you get this magical windfall of lots and lots of money, and then that money sort of just corrupts you, and you might turn to doing things like drugs. You might start doing, you might have so much money you don't know what to do with it, so you might start doing really bad things. You might be like going to hookers and buying drugs and shit like that. Money corrupts, basically, is what he's saying. A child into a killer. Again, the need of money. If someone's got no money, they might try mugging someone, because they want the money, and it might result in someone getting killed. Kind of like what we saw in the Ballad of Screeching Jenny. Near the beginning, he said, give me your money, this, that, and the other, and he accidentally killed her. Money, the need of money, turned him into a killer. That's what he's saying here, a child into a killer. And it goes into the chorus. Oh, rain, 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 rain. A storm, it comes our way. And those who rise through distorted lies poison in the veins. But we like to point the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game. So rain, 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 rain. That could, it could be taken literally. A storm is coming. This and the other. It could be making it rain with lots of money, or it could be rain as in a reign of tyranny. Interesting way of looking at it. And for those who rise through distorted lies, again, like the corrupt politicians, or these billionaires who have finagled their way to where they are now through possibly less than wholesome means, but always like to point the blame at everybody else. It's not my fault. I worked hard for this, and there's all these other people who are like, these people are corrupt, these people are terrible, they've got all this money and blah, 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 blah. And then they find a way themselves to capitalise on that. It's like, how can I turn this situation to my advantage? And it's very sort of backhanded, very underhanded, very dishonest, if you will. It's like, people say, oh no, this is disgusting, this is horrible, but then they see that small window of opportunity where it might benefit them, and suddenly their train of thought changes and goes, well, it's not that bad really, is it? Because now I'm profiting from this, I'm not struggling from it like I was before. Now it's working in my advantage, my mindset has changed. Then it goes into a post-chorus. This old money game, yada yada. Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas that keep us separate. When they make us believe that everybody is coming to terrorise you in the streets, they say proudly through gritted teeth, it's my right to hate, that's freedom of speech. But when did freedom become a reason to hate? A way to justify a racial slur or insult we make? There's an irony in freedom because us in the West, we pillaged and plundered and murdered like savages, colonised all of the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Preach a certain value when you've never kept yourselves. If your country was in flames, you'd emigrate yourselves in a second. Now, there is so much to unpack in this verse. So, this is referencing a certain Dumbfucticus the Orange. Dear Mr. President, it's evident that everyone's a resident of fear when they support these ideas that keep us separate. This person went out of his way to instill an unfounded fear in people, making ridiculous, outlandish claims about people who weren't American. Saying that all they were going to do is come into the country and rape and pillage and steal, which is far from true. That is absolute bullshit. Basically, the guy was supporting racism. He was basically encouraging people to be racist and bigoted. And, you know, he was telling them to be scared of people they had no need to be scared of. And he's doing it again. But anyway, they make us believe that everyone is coming to terrorize you in the streets. This is what I was just saying, you know, making claims that, like, people from Mexico were just going to come in and rape and pillage and steal and, you know, do unspeakable things to people in the country. You know, it's all bullshit. You know, it's absolute bollocks. You know, this doesn't happen. In fact, half the time when you listen to, like, news about things happening in America, it's a homegrown problem. It's people from America doing it. You know, like all these people that end up shooting up schools, it's always American people that did it. You know, it's not somebody from out of the country who's done it. It's Americans that did it. You know, you know, you're making us believe that everybody except natural Americans are evil and horrible people. You know, you say proudly through gritted teeth, it's my right to hate. That's freedom of speech. Now, this is where a lot of people get shit wrong. Yes, there's freedom of speech, but you are not supposed... Freedom of speech, yes, but freedom to incite hatred, no. There's a big difference. There's a difference between saying what you want and purposefully inciting hatred, purposefully causing fear, and purposefully antagonizing people. You know, everybody has a right to live their life. Everybody has a right to live on this planet. Even if you are a stupid dumb fuck, you still have the right to live on this planet. But you might have the right to dislike someone. That is your right. But to go out of your way to try and force other people into that same opinion, absolutely not. And to try and incite people to actively go out and, you know, essentially hunt these people, absolutely fucking not. You know, that is not acceptable. You might have the right to say what you want, but to actually try and convince other people of it, and to, like, incentivize them to go out and do something highly illegal, no. And he says here, but when did freedom become a reason to hate? You know, freedom is supposed to be freeing. You know, it's supposed... freedom applies to everything on this planet. You know, I'm going to use a really cheesy line here from Transformers. Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Everybody on this planet has a right to be free, as long as they obey the law. Yeah? It's not up to you to say that person doesn't deserve to be free because I don't like the colour of their skin, I don't like their religion, I don't like the fact that they're in a wheelchair, etc., 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 whatever. That's not your choice to make. Everybody has the right to be free. But why does it become a reason to hate? Why can't you be free from hate? You know, why can't we all just get along? You know, we're all on this planet. We all share this planet. We all have a right to this planet. Why can't we all just fucking get along and be happy, make the place somewhere enjoyable, instead of fighting, bickering, and causing division all the fucking time? Anyway, yeah, when did freedom become a reason to hate, a way to justify a racial slur or insult we make? You know, racism is something that should have disappeared decades ago. You know, there was all this segregation bullshit, and, you know, this wasn't even, 70 years ago? 70 years ago, just take that on for a minute. 70 years ago. 70 years ago, I think the first black woman was actually allowed to go into a all-white school and study. 70 years ago. It's that recent. But the thing is, it's all coming back. All this racism, this hatred, is all coming back, and it is absolutely disgusting. I mean, I see some of this shit on Facebook. It makes me physically want to throw up. The way people react and behave to people just because of the colour of their skin, just because of their sexual identity, as if it has some effect on their own life, which it doesn't. You know, it's sickening. It really is. And, you know, this is what he's saying here. When did freedom become a reason to hate and say such cruel and hurtful and hateful things to people? There's an irony in freedom. I like this bit. Because in the West we have pillaged and plundered and murdered like savages, colonised all the rest. That's called hypocrisy. Like certain countries are saying, we can't let these immigrants in because all they're going to do is rape and pillage and plunder our country. How the fuck do you think you got that country in the first place? Because white people weren't Native Americans. No. What did you do? People from Europe went to America, pillaged and plundered, and then took over the land. What do you know? Americans are immigrants. Or what people consider to be Americans these days are not naturalised American. They might have been born in America by now, but you're not the indigenous race on that island. You are immigrants, my friend. Haha. Deal with that, you shitbag. Because what he's literally saying is the way we popularised other countries, or populated, the way you populated the Americas is you came from Europe, pillaged and plundered and murdered the Native American people and took over their land. And now you're saying that other people coming into your country will do the same thing to you. You're scared of people coming in and doing the exact same thing that you did to take that country in the first place. And like you said, that, my friend, is called hypocrisy. Anyway, preach a certain value that you'd never keep yourselves. If your country was in flames, you'd emigrate yourselves in a second. Now, again, this is another thing to be brought up about dumb fucticus the orange. He's talking about people coming into the country and taking over our land. What is he suggesting they do about Gaza? Oh yeah, he's talking about going in there and taking over that piece of land. Buying Gaza, I believe he said, so he wants to turn it into a resort of some form. Anyway, we carry on. Still you spit your venom, demonising immigrants when really you're an immigrant. That's like what I just said. Because all of us are immigrants, descended from immigrants. The irony is imminent. I'll shed a light on immigrants. So, he's saying there, it's exactly what I just said. All the people who live in America are immigrants and descended from immigrants, except for the Native American. You are descended from immigrants, you fucking ignorant arsehole. So it goes here. I'll shed some light on immigrants. America was colonised by Britain. You're welcome, that's how you got your country. Britain was colonised by Rome and was also colonised by the Saxons. They were German, by the way. You know how people throw shade upon Germans because of history's pain. So yes, the Germans have been responsible for some atrocities, but the Germans are also the people who colonised Britain, and Britain subsequently went on to colonise America. And yet we make the same mistakes all again and demonise a whole people, Jewish or Muslim. The same old situation plays on repeat. The same old TV shows repeat. Yeah, we worship the bleak. So again, worshipping the bleak. This is something I mentioned before in another video. It's like, when it comes to like news programs and stuff like that, there's never, or very rarely, anything actually happy or joyful. They're only interested in telling you the worst possible news. For example, right, have you ever compared the British news to the American news? For example, you watch the British news. For example, I think it's when the Ebola virus came out. In the British news, it was like, the Ebola virus has broken out, people are working hard to fix it, there's nothing really to be scared of because it's only transmitted a certain way, if you avoid doing this, that and the other, you'll be fine. Whereas in America, it was like a goddamn... It was like an apocalypse. It's like, warning, Ebola, wah, 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 wah. It could be deadly. It could wipe out half the country. Wah, it's dangerous. Blame the immigrants. Yeah. It was really weird. If you see the difference between the two news outlets, You know, you got the British one saying, you know, everybody be calm, we've got this under control, we'll get it sorted. And America's like, warning, the world is going to die. You know, it was really fucking weird. But, again, people are only interested in telling us about the worst things that happen. It's like, everything is bad, everything is miserable, doom, gloom, evil. You know, we for some reason, people seem to relish it. And the thing is, the politicians relish it as well, because that's what they focus on. It's like, this is happening because this person is in power, or this is happening because you didn't vote for me. You know, if it was me in power, this wouldn't be happening right now. You know, it's all a money game. Our opinions aren't our own, and we follow like sheep. There's no left, there's no right. In the middle we sleep. So again, our opinions aren't our own. You know, we're essentially told what to think. You know, these politicians say, this is what the people want. Is it? That's not what I want. You know, and there's no left, there's no right. So it's like, I mean, at the moment, it's impossible, you know, because you've got one side saying, you know, that side's bad, the other side saying that side's bad. They're constantly arguing, constantly butting heads, you know, making a big sort of show about, you know, what they are and aren't doing. And, you know, they're coming into power and they aren't doing anything of any use at all. And people are going, yeah, we voted for them, they'll make the country a better place. And then they sit there for about a week and a half and go, what have we done? And then you get the ignorant fucks who still think, hold on, this person's come into power, he's spent millions of taxpayers' money doing nothing except enjoy himself. He's done nothing for the actual country, but I still believe in him. He's going to be great for the country. He's going to do wonderful things. No. So, you know, there's no right or wrong option. You know, if you go one way, the other way's going to fuck up. If you go the other way, that side's going to, you know, no matter which way you go, you're screwed. So he says, in the middle, we sleep. Because, you know, we want what's best for the country. The politician want what's best for them. Anyway, it goes, rain, 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 a storm it comes our way, and those who rise through distorted lies poison in the veins. But we like to point the blame, blame, blame. It's easier to blame. But point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this old money game. Etc. And that's it. So he's basically saying, you know, this whole world revolves on money. Money is... It's an often misquoted phrase. People say money is the root of all evil. That is not the actual phrase. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. And that's true. Because money, like he even said in the song, was created for trade purposes. You know, it's a promise of, you know, I will give you this if you give me that. You know. But it corrupts. You know, it's become an impure thing. You know, it is intended as something purely, you know, tit for tat. I'll give you this, you give me that. All good. But now it's become the fact of, I've got all of this, and for some reason, me having all of this gives me power over you. I can lord it over you, and I can use my money however I please, but your money must be used to make my life better. So, you know, I see what he's getting at, and, you know, there's a very pointed topic of corruption in politics, specifically here. Specifically aimed at one particular person. I mean, he does point it at, like, the UK Parliament, but he also points it very, very squarely and very directly at the Orange Goblin. So, you know, it's a very political song. I myself, I don't particularly like talking about politics. I don't like getting into it because all it does is cause arguments and people get angry and they start insulting people. And I don't really want that shit. I'm not interested in that, you know. Because, I mean, there've been I've posted videos in the past where I've just translated what the songs have said. And I've gotten hate and aggro for it, and I've just ended up blocking people and banning them from my channel just because, you know, they're starting throwing around really cruel things. And, you know, it's not because I'm trying to censor them or anything, it's just I don't particularly like getting insults thrown at me when all I'm doing is translating what a song is saying. You know, okay, I do have my opinions and, you know, people aren't going to necessarily like them, but it is what it is. We're all entitled to our own opinion, but, there's no need to be, there's no need to come at me like that. There's no need to come at each other like that, because this is essentially what the politicians are doing. They're trying to set us against each other, because one side is saying, that side is wrong, they're cruel, they're evil, they're bad, and all they're doing is all they're interested in is themselves. And that's all they're doing themselves. They're only interested in themselves anyway. It doesn't matter which side we go for. It's going to be wrong either way. So, anyway. So, powerful, strong meaning. And, like I said, the song itself, very bare bones, just him, just a guitar, and the other guy playing the guitar. And again, the sort of very minimalistic but impactful video, with that guy sitting in the chair, looking like a hostage, like a torture victim, and at points Ren even making it look like he's torturing the guy, even though he might just be drawing eyes on his mask, so it's very interesting. And like I said, I'm going to be doing the other 2 parts in the coming days, because not like I said, normally for my birthday I would be filming like a big series of about 14 videos like I have done for the past couple of years, but this year I haven't had the time because I've got other real world obligations at the moment, and so all I'm doing is I'm doing the 3 money game videos, and we'll be having that for the birthday special, as it were. So look out for the next 2 videos coming up very, very soon. But I will leave that as it is. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.
Oh, rain, 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 rain. A storm, it comes our way, and those who rise through distorted lies, poison in the veins, but we die to point the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame, but point the mirror at ourselves. We're all